John chapter 9. Now as Jesus passed by, he saw a man who was blind from birth. And the disciples asked him, saying, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, Neither this man nor his parents sinned, but the works of God shall be revealed in him. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he had said these things, he spat on the ground, made clay with the saliva, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay. And he said unto him, Go wash in the pool of Siloam, which is translated sent. So he went and washed and came back seeing. From here we see Jesus comes into interaction with this man born blind, and find that this situation that he was in, it was for the power of God to be manifested in him. And it is good because we see Jesus says, I must work the works of who sent me, and I am the light of the world. In this moment, some situations in your life cannot change unless you come to the place where you can get light. There is blindness in your heart, blindness in your spirit, blindness in whichever area of your life. You need Christ. You need to be transformed. And that's just the reality. And not only that, you need obedience. You see this young man, after God did whatever he did, he was told and he obeyed. And he came back seeing. So therefore, for you to be transformed, for your life to be changed, God is going to put some rules, some foundations upon your life. And if you follow them, it is going to bring best, because every promise of God has a law backing it, and if you apply to it, you will reap what God desires. Therefore the neighbors of those who previously had seen that he was blind said, Is this not who sat and begged? Some said, This is he. Others said, He is like him. He said, I am he. Therefore they said to him, How were your eyes opened? He answered, A man called Jesus made clay and anointed my eyes, and said to me, Go to the pool of Siloam and wash. So I went and washed, and I received sight. Then they said to him, Where is he? He said, I do not know. One of the things we see here also is the situation this man was. People knew him as a beggar. They knew him as one who could not be helped. And yet when Jesus came, he transformed this man that some were doubting. And therefore this is one of the powers of Christ, that once he is in your life is going to be transformed. Verses 13, they brought him who was formerly blind to the Pharisee. Now it was the Sabbath when Jesus made clay and opened his eyes. Then the Pharisee also asked him again how he had received his sight. He said to them, He put clay on my eyes, and I washed, and I see. Therefore some of the Pharisees said, This man is not from God, because he does not keep the Sabbath. Others said, How can a man who is a sinner do such signs? And there was a division among them. Remember, the Pharisees were holding unto the laws in a carnal way, but they did not have the understanding in a spiritual level, because the Lord of the Sabbath was with them working, because God operates outside our time frame. God is not limited by our ideas, by our notions, because he is God and exists outside of time. So any time, any day, it is for him to do his work and his will. Then they said to the blind man again, What do you say about him? Because he opened the eyes, he said he is a prophet. But the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind and received his sight, until they called the parents of him who had received his sight, And they asked them, saying, Is this your son who you say was born blind? How then does he now see? His parents answered them and said, We know that this is our son, that he was born blind. But by what means he now see, we do not know, or who opened the eyes, we do not know. He is of age, ask him, he will speak of himself. The Pharisees, they still, want data. They want, why is this person doing this? So they come to the parents of the blind man, and the parents tell them, we know it's our son, he was born blind, but now we see. And whatever transpired, we have no idea. Because they feared, and they said, ask him because he can speak for himself. His parents said these things because they feared the Jews, for the Jews had agreed already that if anyone confessed that he was Christ, he will be put out of the synagogue. Remember, one of the things that Jesus said was, you'll be hated because of my name. And we should not be ashamed to bear the consequences. We should not be ashamed of carrying that burden. Therefore his parents said to him, he is of age, ask him. So they again called the man who was blind and said to him, give God the glory, we know that this man is a sinner. And he answered and said, whether he is a sinner or not, I do not know. One thing I know, though I was blind, now I see. How many of us can come to this reality and expectation that we obey the plans of God, we obey what God has purposed upon our life, that our situation changes, so that even you also can claim and say, one thing I know is that I was blind and now I see. I was broke and now I'm blessed. I was sick, yet now I am healed. I was lonely, yet now I have a family. It is because of Christ. He answered them, I told you already, and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples? Then they revealed him and said, you are his disciples, but we are Moses' disciples. We know that God spoke to Moses. As for this fella, we do not know where he is from. Remember, Jesus Christ was telling the Pharisee that I am from heaven, I am from God, I am from the Father. And they kept doubting him. And now you can see they openly confess that they do not know Christ. Then the man answered and said to them, why, this is a marvelous thing that they do not know where he is from, yet he has opened my eyes. Now we know that God does not hear sinners, but if anyone is a worshiper of God and does his will, he will hear him. Now, this is a very nice confession, a very nice realization. And if anyone is a worshiper of God, regardless, and does his will, you see, there is worship and also there is rule and law, commitment. If you do this one, God will hear them. Since the world began, it has been unheard of that anyone opened the eyes of one who was born blind. And therefore it was right between their faces. Anyone who can change the body anatomy was God and God alone. And if it was miracle, it was through the power of God, because God is the creator. And you see this man confesses, he says, if this man were not from God, he could do nothing. Remember on the earlier verse when Jesus says, it is for the power of God to be manifested within this man. And therefore now we see this man confessing, this man preaching. And he says, and verses 31, if anyone is a worshiper of God and does his will, God will hear him. And he says, if this man were not from God, he could do nothing, because human knowledge is limited. Then they answered him, you are completely born in sin, And are you teaching us? And they cast him out. This is amazing, because now we see, if you walk with God, you'll be casted out by family, by friends, by society, by religious institutions. Then Jesus said that they had cast him out, and when he found him, said to him, "Do you believe in the Son of God?" He answered and said, "Who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him?" And Jesus said to him, "You have both seen him, and it is he who is talking with you." Then he said, "Lord, I believe," and worshipped him. Now we see, it is the power of God continuing to be revealed unto this man. And he is confessing, he is believing, and he worships. And Jesus said, "For judgment I have come to this world, that those who do not see may see, and those who see may be made blind." This is very, it's like a satire. Those having eyes, they do not see the works of God. They do not see the foundation of which God has placed. Then some of the Pharisees who were with him heard these words and said to him, "Are we blind also?" Jesus said to them, "If you are blind, you will have no sin. But now you say, we see, therefore your sin remains." One of the things we need to acknowledge is that Christ is the light of the world. And when we apply ourselves to know him, we are going to be transformed, we are going to be renewed, we are going to see his faithfulness in a greater capacity. So wherever you are, look unto Jesus, because he is able to change the narrative, he is able to change the story always and forever. And God bless you.